Gentlemen, for me, obviously, these vociferous beings cannot be controlled, right? Because obviously, I think when they are doing this, they actually do know the implications. Um, my thing is there's the positives as well that actually come with social media. So we can't ignore the positive connotations that actually come with social media as well. So we've seen people grow from pillar to strength. We've seen social media raise awareness on things that most of us were oblivious to. So there's definitely positives here as well. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm on the side that's against social media, but I'm just merely having a take on the whole social media conundrum. And for me, I do believe that something needs to be done, definitely. As to what, I'm not a social media
I was just
expert.
about to ask, because it seemed like you were at one point speaking about the algorithms that exist and the privacy policies, and that these things existed before. So I was thinking maybe you were leaning towards saying that you don't feel that something should be done because these are things that existed before, so they will exist in the future and they exist in the present. So social media doesn't have any responsibility for whatever is happening. So I'm glad you actually clarified that, because I mean, yes, we in full agreement that there's definitely positives from social media that we can pull from. I mean, us just sitting here, not having to be in a radio station or not having to be in a production booth, is all thanks to social media. So we definitely have a lot to pull from it. There's a lot of opportunities that have risen from it.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, though, there's also that Superman story. What is it? With great power comes great responsibility. Is it Superman, anyways?
Yep.
So the same law comes into play here, because yes, I understand it will be challenging, not impossible. It would be challenging for uh, people to be caught, or for them to narrow down on these type of abuses that's happening on social media. But I don't think that it's impossible. I mean, I think that with a little bit of R&D, surely there's some form of, workaround around this matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean,
Definitely.
I know, I think it was is it H3, their podcast, they were also like, some people called the cops, and something about sending the cops to their house and all those type of things, and eventually FBI clamped down on these people. So the same thing will come down to um, them using burner phones, using fake identities to then call in and say, listen, there's something happening here and then the other. These guys used your IP addresses. They know about tracking. They use the towers to be able to establish more or less your position, and then they continue monitoring these things. So I think it's very
But
important that. Uh,
by the way, just to your point, I'm so sorry to interject there
no
while you were
problem.
talking. The FBI actually uses social media to actually track down these rappers, and they've made arrests based on what they see, based on their social media activity. That's just how powerful social media can be.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of these events actually transpire just in front of our eyes, right?
Yeah.
And so if you forever wondering really like what is the cause of social media in our communities, I mean it's a broad farm, really. It's a broad farm.
Exactly.
It depends what you're really looking for. And I know X, you're banning to come in, so I'm just gonna allow you to come in.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add as well. With social media, there's different forums or groups, support groups as well out there. When it comes to, let's just say, for mental issues and any other issues, there's a lot of people that are doing good things out there, and that's using social media as a positive. So we don't want to take that away as well
Yeah.
from the platforms itself. We just need to understand that it is, as I've mentioned, it's there, it's here to stay,
Mm-hmm.
and we're responsible how we make use of these platforms.
For sure.
You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, social media is actually
But-
good, but you will definitely find people that actually abuses it once again, as I've mentioned.
But
You know.
also, I mean, just going back to my earlier point, guys, and obviously, like we're not all built the same way, right? But like, what significance does an opinion of a person who's never met you, who doesn't know you, really hold to the point that it can lead you to depression?
Hey, that's a
What-
sensitive topic.
What sort of triggers does really social media have? Because look, like I've really seen, like I've read like stories, sad stories where people have actually gone so far as to commit suicide because of what was said.
And on social
On
media,
social media.
you've seen them actually giving their last
Well,
testimonies
like testimonies or
or
something.
whatever
Exactly.
on
Look,
social media.
Again, Maurice, like I'm not trying to rifle certain feathers here, right? I'm just trying to look at this differently, to say that also, like within our own confines, there are things that we can obviously we can shrug off. Look, I as Brian can say, negativity don't even enter my inner matrix, right? Someone else can say, well, it does bother me. But look, you just dropped your album, right? You have fans, right? And it's reflecting on the success of your album. Then a few users on social media say you are trash, and ultimately that puts you in a bad state of mind. What about the success that's just staring at you?
And just for the record to be clear, I'm not the one that has put out the album, and it's not me that has the
Yeah,
fans, right?
for
We're
sure,
just
but-
hypothetically
But
speaking
I'm just
about
saying
these
that,
things.
guys, like some things though, like you just have to like take them with
A pinch of salt.
a pinch of salt, right?
Yeah.
Because just think about it. Just think, this person doesn't know you. This person calls you horrible, or this person calls you a culture vulture,
I think with
and it
with
just
that,
puts you in a different state altogether.
But
Like you feel like, yo, I gotta do something. I gotta jump on social media and say, like sometimes I look at Kari, for instance, right? Kari B, I'm like, but you don't need to address any of these things. But for some reason, you always feel obligated. But you don't need to, right?
But then but now again, you've mentioned that we all not built the same.
Yeah, for sure.
We
That's very
different,
important. That's
you
an
know,
important underline.
And as much as we speaking about your Cardis, and you've made reference to that, just an example. What about the child on the street? The child that is going through these things, that don't have access to resources in terms of speaking to someone. And we know
What about them?
we've seen a trend of that. We've really seen a trend of that, where kids are really being bullied on social media, or not even in social media. Yes,
Just generally
let's
speaking.
generally speaking, and then it gets put on social media. A lot of depression comes with that. And we also
I-
need to understand
That's a good
is
point,
is
actually.
just basically they need to speak out.
That's okay.
know.
I need to just maybe zero in on that point, because it's very important. Listen, I'm going through a very bad experience, right? Maybe someone is abusing me, or someone is doing something, is bullying me, right?
Yes.
And someone has their camera out and taking a video, right? Whether or not your intentions are good, it may not necessarily mean they are for me, because the way that I view what you are doing, it may be a gesture of goodwill to say I'm raising awareness, right?
Yes.
But you cannot do something without my permission. So even if it's a gesture of goodwill, you have that raise awareness, that bullyism is not right, you put it out on social media, that could literally trigger me to commit suicide because I didn't want my business out there. For sure, there are many other ways that you could have dealt with the situation, even if you mean good, right? How about you take that to maybe the authorities, if it's like an older person, because
Yes.
I don't think I would be subjected to bullyism now because I mean, like, I would smack niggas. But I'm just saying, with that analogy that I made.
So there's two things I want to raise on that point there, Brian, before
Yeah.
I forget and before you continue going away from the points. There's two important things that you're mentioning there. So maybe there should be something of like you said, raise awareness for bullyism or
Yeah.
whatever it is on social media, where you can actually reach out. Then on there's a platform that you can actually reach out on social media where you could actually speak to some people, or have, like, instead of having these group meetings physically, especially in this day and age where we are obeying social distancing laws and all those type of things. You have these platforms online that's available where you can actually reach out to people. That could be one thing. It could also be a matter of publicly like having a stop bullying trend type of a thing.
Stop bullying. Okay, cool. A stop bullying trend on something that
caused the
you
problem.
didn't acquire my permission
No,
on.
No, not with the same footage. I'm saying, like, a person who is being bullied, they can now reach out on these social media
Yeah, but
platforms
let
as
it
well.
be their call, for instance. Like,
Yes.
if a bad event occurs, right?
Yes.
And a friend of mine sees it fit to actually raise awareness, right?
Yeah.
But without my impelling permission.
No. So that is the person who is seeking.
So basically what I'm trying to say is, even with good intentions, they can contribute towards a bigger problem without them knowing.
Yes, exactly. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. The person who is now the impacted person, the victim of the bullying, there should be platforms in place for this person to reach out, not for someone to reach out on.
From
on
that
their-
perspective, I do agree.
Yeah.
Where you can willingly say, "Oh, there's a support group
Yes,
there that I can
yes,
join."
exactly.
For sure, I agree. I
And then
definitely
also,
agree.
like, publicly, these big corporations and influencers as well needs to really be vocal about it, because, like you're saying, you have celebrities that's impacted by bullying and also mental fatigue. And then also another thing on that, the second point that I wanted to raise is that it's not necessarily social media that is the cause of a lot of the suicides and all those type of things. There's underlying causes, and social media may be the last trigger.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the
true.
last nail in the coffin.
It's deeply rooted.
Yeah. So at that point, it's like, okay, enough is enough, and that's the end of it. So there are things that
Agreed.
needs to be addressed before it actually, before we look at social media and be like, no, it's social media's fault that this has happened.
Yeah.
It's maybe just more publicized now because of the reach of social media.
It's just like the as it's the users, because social media, the platform is there. It's just the users that obviously goes about abusing
The
whatever
facilities.
the facilities or the platform, just to probably get a kick out of it. And as you come into your point as well, if something happens and you haven't given anyone permission to record this, maybe they might be creating awareness. So the minute I share it with Maurice, you'll find out I created awareness. However, Maurice's attitude towards that is totally different to the
Yeah.
awareness that I'm creating. So
I could turn
it
it
could
into
be
a joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be turned into a joke and so forth, and share it even further.
And on that note, what I want to actually, I know this is gonna be jumping around here, guys, but I wanna touch base on the actual perpetrator of this this crime. Let me not say so-called crime. It is a crime. It's not right what they're doing. Somewhere along the line, there's something that's not right there as well. Because for a person to, there was some people that was caught like doing strange things to people, and then posting it on social media and stuff like that. Like for you to have that, I don't understand what happens in your mind to be able to cause harm to people, to willingly or even unwillingly cause harm to, like, physical harm or even like emotional harm and all those type of stuff. There has to be something that's not right.
So yeah, I do agree with you. So what do we do then? Do we throw them under the bus, confiscate them from the actual platforms, and hope that they will find some healing outside these platforms?
I
Or
don't
Or
think that's
rehabilitate
possible.
them.
Rehabilitate, yeah. Because I don't think
Because
without
you'll
the
find
phone-
out that the person doing that as well also has
Yeah.
underlying issues.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
mental issues that, you know, where they picked up or they inherited it somewhere. And now it's just, you know, for that person to act it out. You get what I'm saying? So I just think that a lot of awareness needs to be there, as well as rehabilitation.
I think also some people are actually deprived of attention. So social media gives them that platform to sort of like
Yeah.
seek it, and they know that, okay, well, because I grew up deprived of attention, and this is the only place where I can get it, and I know just how to, you know.
And that comes back to what the suggestion was as well, to have these platforms in place for the for people to reach out, even people that's like that feel that need or that urge to seek this attention by causing some form of harm to someone else. They could seek out and be like, look, this is what I'm going through. And in the upside or the flip side of it
But-
is that we should not then stigmatize or attach some form of shame to a person that's good, because like if there's something in your wiring or your DNA that is different to another person, doesn't mean that you're wrong. It's genetics. It's just
Yes.
how you are, and if you seek help, if you get the necessary help and attention, you could actually live a normal life, or you could actually manage those issues. So we need to encourage that, because at the end of the day, the person that's the victim will suffer, the person that's the perpetrator will suffer. Whereas if we have now this,
Speaking of which, actually, it's just to your point, there's a person, right, a TV personality in the UK, who actually recommended some professional help to a social media user who was actually being offensive, right? So what they did was they said, okay, you know what, I'm not going to match your energy, but rather I'm going to get help for you.
yeah,
So what they did was they actually DM'd this person. They said, hey, how about we meet, and I've got someone that I reckon will actually be of huge help given your situation. And the person went back with as much thankful gratitude to say, wow, like, this is the first time someone has actually approached me this way. I'm used to people just going back and
Fire
forth,
with fire.
back and forth,
You
back and
can't
forth.
fight
And-
fire with
and
fire.
for him, like, it does fuel him in a way. That's what he wants.
Yes.
You know, like, he likes to entangle
That
people into
conflict.
that. So
Yeah.
so it was a different approach altogether. But then this different approach actually opened up a whole new realm for him, which is the realm
Exactly.
of healing and
Exactly.
rehabilitation, as you would have mentioned earlier on. But I'm not saying this is obviously anything that all of us need to do. But that person
True.
was very aware. This UK TV personality, he was very aware in this situation. And I mean, look what it turned out to be now, this situation, which was an adverse situation, it turned out to be a very good one. And this person was able, now the perpetrator was able to say, hey, you can also get help.
Yeah, because now those type of things should be normalized, in my opinion. Because yes, like, people are going to speak about, or the question was raised, should we then remove them and confiscate the devices and all those type of things? It won't help, because now they'll physically
Yeah.
do something to do that, or they'll do something else that could actually get that kick. So you'd find then that person could end up in prison and all those type of things, where this is a perfectly able person to do a lot of different things, because a person who's able to cause so much chaos and so much drama, maybe they could even write a book or a poem or something, you know, that could be interesting for people to read or watch, because maybe their minds are so inventive. But in terms of them channeling that energy, they just don't have that ability, they don't have the direction, because of their some
So
underlying
then,
issue.
let's underpin this, because the way that you guys have actually broken this down, to me, it suggests one thing, that social media is a tool,
Yes.
or better yet, a resource, right?
Yes.
It's not the behavior.
No, it's not.
The behavior
Is the individual.
lies within an
Yeah.
individual.
That's correct, because to come to your also to that same point is the behavior, and then it opens up something else, mental illness. You get what I'm saying? So what type of mental illness are you as an individual suffering with?
From, yeah.
Yeah, because now you're trying to project it on to someone else, if I can put it that way, through bullying or whatever it is.
Misery loves company.
And that is why there's so many. Yeah, there is help out there.
And the
So-
great thing now is that social media can reach so many people at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
Because now you could do a virtual type of session. Look, obviously this is something that experts will have to look into, because I don't even have the full view or image of how it might look, but I'm sure it's possible for some form of intervention to take place virtually, especially if people are really willing. But as the general public, we shouldn't then, coming back to what I was saying, stigmatize people based on these issues that they're actually suffering, because some people are suffering some form of abuse that happened in their childhood, that some people might use that against them as well, and those type of things. So it's up to us to be a nation, or actually a world, that supports each other.
Agreed.
No man is an island on his own. I think that was John Donne, right? We support each other, and in order for us to thrive as a human race, we need to work together.
And I think also, just to add to your point, like, what I mean, our natural instinct is to obliterate these people, right? And
Yeah.
and obviously speak against their condescending behavior, and whatnot. I mean, but sometimes a different approach is really warranted. Just going back to the things that you've obviously mentioned, I think that as humanity, we are built in the way that we are susceptible to mistakes, one
Yes,
way or another.
For sure.
It's how we look at those mistakes now, how big
Yes.
of a mistake it is, and then we seem to have a different energy for certain mistakes, right?
Yes.
And then we have another outlook on other mistakes. A mistake is a mistake in any
True.
case, and it should actually be looked at the same way, right? So obviously, even in this case, like you said, that it's time for us to come together, right?
True.
And understand that we really need each other. Support is very important, guys. I've seen, and obviously, like, this is not me to say that everyone needs to be ultimately sent to prison, but I've seen people go to prison and come back better people, right? And I mean, like, what's common about their stories is the support they actually got when they got there, right?
Yeah.
That, look, I received some proper healing. I got support from people who understood where I was coming from, right? And that's what we need to become, to the very same things that we do not like.
Without having to go that route, in some cases,
Yes.
in terms of people going to prison. Because here's the thing.
No, I'm not suggesting that you should go to prison.
Yeah,
or-
no.
I know you wouldn't survive a day, but yeah, for sure, go for it.
So it's imperative that I know it's going to be sounding as a broken record here, but if you look at everything that has happened since the beginning of time, especially from like human civilization until now, it has only gotten this far by us working together as one. Whereas if we actually trying to destroy each other, you could then predict that in a certain amount of years we probably wouldn't exist. So with us working together, we would be able to do so much so much more for the human race, the future. We don't even know what the future is in store for us.
Yeah.
People are speaking about moving to Mars and all those type of things. All those things is not possible if one person does it. It has to be a team effort of a lot of people.
And just on my side, I think just to put this to bed,
Please put it to bed, bro.
the feeling that I'm getting from this is that at the end of the day, there's always gonna be new innovations, right?
Yes.
That will come with a pile of problems, right?
Yep.
We need to first determine the inherent cause of the problem, right? A gun doesn't create a problem by being a gun, right? But if it's misused, then a gun can create a problem. But it's not the gun that created the problem. It's the person behind the gun that
And
created the problem.
on that point, there's a very important quote that I wanted to quote here
Quote.
from the late great DMX.
I knew you were gonna do that. I
Um,
definitely knew that.
The king.
Yes, sir. I think it was with Romeo Must Die, right? And he was like, guns
Oh,
don't
yeah.
kill people. People kill
Kill-
people.
Exactly.
So I just thought it's fitting
Exactly.
at this moment.
I'm
That
glad.
was also running through my mind. I mean, I just thought,
I'm
R.I.P.
glad you actually brought that
Yes,
up. Exactly. So I think for me that's it, guys. We can speak up, or we can boycott social media, but it doesn't mean that it alleviates the behavior or it gets rid of the behavior. If the behavior is there and the behavior is inherent in an individual, then we need to address the behavior and not the actual tools and the resources that are in place to actually help us get to another level. So that's my take on this.
X-Men.
X.
Well, I think you all summed everything up, and yeah, this has really been some informative, something informative
Mhm.
to all of us,
An
and
eye opener for sure.
an eye opener, yeah, as you mentioned. So all we
Looking
need to
forward.
do is, we just need, obviously, we just need to be aware of everything that's happening around us, and let us also stretch out a helping hand
I
where we
was
can.
about to say that too. Like that's so important. Pledge your support to even as little as one person. People don't understand that makes a huge difference. Yes, social media can reach millions, but sometimes it's not the millions that you need to reach. You just need to reach one person.
One person,
and
yes.
each person reaches one person. That is then reaching millions and
Yes,
billions.
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
let's be that. Let's be the beacon of hope for people that's like going through something at that point in time. Look, don't give advice where you're not, an expert, but be there to support the person and then seek ways and means to assist, because you also don't want to be like, no, you should do this and you should do that, and then that doesn't work out, and then be like, oh, but this person said I should do this and now it's not working out, so this person is at fault for this bad advice and all that stuff. But on the ending, guys, like let's pledge to love in conjunction with each other and not
Yeah.
against each other.
Yeah.
Let's be that support that we need for our neighbors, our friends, our family.
Let's
reach
unify
out.
the nation, guys.
Yeah.
Let's unify the nation.
The human nation,
The
and
human
not just
nation. Yeah,
one
of
nation.
course.
Yeah. But it was really a privilege, guys, hanging out with you guys again. We sitting here on a golf course. Some great views. I'm sorry I had to just take a few selfies here. Sunset here, and it's just looking amazing. I'm looking forward to the next discussion with you guys. This was The Broad